There was one guy, I can't remember his name, he was a bodybuilder, but he's part of a survey, or not a survey, a study, where they tried to see how much muscle they could pack on in a short amount of time. And he put on like 50 pounds, I want to say, in around 6 months.
Damn.
But he got incentivized like X amount of dollars per pound or per 10 pounds.
Really?
So he like starved himself, stopped working out, shaved off as much weight as he could.
And then
when it started, he just went full clip and put on a ton. So, but it's more to the power of muscle memory. Yeah, for sure. Getting there the first time is much harder than getting back there the second time.
Whenever you're trying to like put on size, do you like eat a bunch of small meals throughout the day, or do you try to just eat like one or two like huge meals?
You know, the big thing right now is intermittent fasting, and everyone talks about that. And some guys swear they can put on size having like one big meal a day.
I just don't see.
I've never been able to do that. I shrink quick. And these guys may have natural mesomorphic genetics where they put on muscle easily. I have the best luck where I have a pretty dense breakfast, not like a crappy breakfast, but like, you know, I have the butter coffee with the eggs, things like that. And then post-workout, another big meal.
Yeah.
You know, like either a shake after workout, then a heavy dinner with steak.
Yeah.
Protein is definitely a thing. Quality of protein's a big one. Like if you can have a nice grass-fed steak every night, you're probably going to have the best results.
Isn't there like a supplement or something that you can take to like...
To increase your appetite?
Yeah. Because I thought somebody said, not creatine, because creatine...
that doesn't affect your appetite.
It doesn't affect your appetite. It just helps your muscles like absorb more of the water, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Gosh, I feel like it's a common vitamin or supplement that like increases your appetite.
Possibly magnesium or zinc. Maybe.
Really?
I've never heard of it increasing your appetite.
I mean,
marijuana does.
Yeah.
You know, and so I've heard I think Arnold Schwarzenegger would smoke marijuana just for that effect every now and then. Yeah, to get the munchies and eat more. I would never recommend that to people to start smoking weed.
Like as a way to put on weight, just smoke a little bit of pot.
I have the best results doing heavy weight, like heavy deadlifts, 5 reps or less, heavy squats, 5 reps or less, things like that, versus the bodybuilder style high volume. You know, just for overall huskiness.
Yeah, I was always told like if you do low rep, really heavy weight, it typically builds like for strength, just for strength, and then the low reps or high reps, low weight is more for like toning,
I really like power building. Have you ever heard of that? It's like basically a hybrid of powerlifting and bodybuilding.
See, that sounds fun to me. What is
like
that?
you would start, say, like start your first exercise squat. So you want to do the most energy taxing exercise first, which would be your heavy compound lift, right? So you'll do something like a 5x5 on your squat, fairly heavy weight. And then you would go to the leg press and do like 4x12 and really try, or 4x15, really try to pump it up, you know?
Yeah.
So you get that mix of strength and hypertrophy.
Okay.
And the heavy stuff is really good because anything that really involves more muscle groups contracting more, it tends to spike your protein release. Spike your testosterone.
Really?
And create that. And you need that for muscle building, you know?
I'm so excited to deadlift again.
Yeah, I've been getting back into deadlifting at
Really?
the station. Yeah, for this fitness challenge.
Yeah.
I did.
That's this next weekend, isn't it?
I'm actually going to go and help teach some striking to the
Really?
dudes. Yeah, I'm gonna leave work early and get up there and then run them through my intro to boxing workout because a lot of the guys their skill levels are gonna be very varied. You know.
How many guys are there? Do you know?
I don't know, probably 10, 15, something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so deadlift, I did 375 for 4 sets of 2.
Really?
The other day, yeah.
I'm
trying to get up to 415 for
415.
Yeah, or 405 rather.
My absolute max that I ever got was 405.
Really?
That's the most that I ever got.
I've done 425 as my max.
Really?
Yeah, but I think I can get to 5 or 495. That's 5 plates.
That's
if I keep pushing it.
I was training.
That's a big. That's a bit. I mean, I say that, but it's going to take a while. You've heard of the 3-4-5 standard? 300 bench, 400 squat, 500 deadlift. That's been something I've been trying to reach for a long time.
3, 4, 5. 300 bench.
400 squat.
400 squat.
500 deadlift.
I might try to do a 3 or a 2, 3, 4.
The thing is too it's really hard to be small when you can deadlift 500 pounds or you can bench 300 pounds. So it's like a tried and true way to get thicker, heavier.
And
you know?
I know, like, I have a video of whenever I did hit 405, and I still have the same T-shirt that I wore whenever I lifted it. And now, like whenever I was doing the 405, like my muscles were like poking out of the shirt.
Yeah.
I was dense. I wouldn't say I was big. Like, I was dense in that shirt, and now I'll put the shirt on, and it's a little bit loose around my arms and stuff, so I can just tell I'm not where I used to be.
Yeah. Well, it comes back quick.
Yeah.
The most I've ever weighed is 222 pounds.
Really?
Yeah, and that's when I was at the station doing just tons of powerlifting, you know.
Maybe I should get into powerlifting, because whenever I was
I love lifting heavy weights, man.
deadlift
It's
was
fun.
my favorite.
Deadlift is my favorite lift.
I think that was my favorite time of my lifting life so far, was whenever I was so focused on doing like a really heavy deadlift.
When I'm angry, I want to deadlift.
Yeah.
I don't want to do pull-ups. I don't want to do bicep curls,
Yeah.
you know.
It's just satisfying. It's I don't know. I mean, it is. It's just like an overall like strength lift.
Yeah.
But,
You know, so we were talking about June being Pride Month, but it's also, I didn't know this, you told me this,
Yeah.
it's Men's Mental Health Awareness Month.
yeah.
And you hear none of this
None
on
of
the
it.
television or the internet, and
Yeah.
it's totally glossed over. But it's such a important subject because male suicide is going up. Every year it goes up.
I wonder what the.
I actually just pulled this up.
Oh, you pulled it up?
So this says, according to the United States, males make up 78.7% of all suicides that happened between 2000 and 2020.
Oh my god.
A record high of 49,500 people died by suicide in 2022. That's a lot.
It is a lot.
And it's kind of, I mean,
And see,
there's so many legs to this because there's a lot of criticism of modern therapy that it doesn't necessarily benefit you just to keep ruminating on bad things or traumas or sadnesses and not having like an actionable step.
yeah.
But I do also believe that it's nice. It's beneficial to know what the root cause of the symptom is, if that makes sense. You know?
I used to be like very against therapy, like just because I was like I don't want to be just constantly talking about all my problems because I'm a big believer in the law of attraction, and you know, like what you put out there comes back to you. So it's like I don't want to talk about all my bullshit problems. I want to not necessarily, I guess technically, I don't know, sweep them under the rug and just kind of get on with it.
Yeah, you can't. The more you sweep it under the rug, it just builds up, and then it will keep coming back later.
Yeah.
And what I found is you start trying to cover it up with like more exercise, more self-improvement, but it gets to the point where like you can only work out so many times a day.
Yeah.
You can only eat so many perfectly clean meals in a row, you know. The thing is not every therapist is equal. You know, the skill varies wildly.
Yeah.
And a lot of them will put their own spin on things and what, I don't know what I'm trying to go with that, but their own worldview into it. I had one really good friend. His name was Brian Zane. He was a student friend of mine. He's moved, but he got a master's degree in psychiatry and then ended up just leaving the field because he thought it was such a hypocritical field.
Really?
Much like the big pharma, how they will like, well, here, take this pill to mask the symptom.
Yeah.
Oh, you have high blood pressure? Take this pill. Take this pill. Versus prescribing like, let's exercise, let's change your diet, let's get some sunlight, let's change your sleep, let's do this, this, and this, you know. There's a DSM, the Diagnostic Sciences Manual, I believe, or diagnostic, but it's basically the academic book on mental disorders and stuff like that.
Really?
And he says they're kind of basically in cahoots with the big pharma to prescribe this, create this condition, ADHD or depression or whatnot. Then we'll sell these pills, and these pills don't really cure you. They just kind of blunt the symptoms enough to make it to the next day. But then you just keep staying on these medicines, which don't really fix the problem.
Yeah, it's just to cover up the symptom.
But what's interesting about it is there's actually a very scientific way that personalities develop and grow,
What do you
which
mean?
I find is very interesting. Well, like a lot of people think, oh, my problems are so unique. No one could understand. I'm fucked up. Bad luck, this, that, you know. But then you start going into the science of personality and human development. You realize, oh, well, if this specific kind of trauma or pain or whatnot happens at this age, it can have this downstream effect 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the line.
Really?
Yeah, and you realize we're a lot more textbook than people realize.
Yeah.
And once you kind of understand, oh, well, that's why this is manifesting, or that's why this is coming out, or that's why that, then you can kind of do your mental jujitsu, mental aikido, and be like, oh, well,
Yeah.
Maybe I can just tackle that, change thought patterns.
Yeah.
You know, and then, law of attraction, the more you repeat it, the more you think it. It's like etching in a groove. It's attracting these things to you. And there is a kernel of truth in it, but I don't know if the trick is to pay someone $100 an hour for the next 50 years to sit there and just talk, and then they don't give you any action steps. Or
I'd like to try and I love holistic medicine. Ones that try to find all natural remedies and stuff like that. Like I love the herb cures, and cures isn't the right word, but like all the herbs and stuff that they put together to make like a tea or something like that.
Chinese medicine had been doing this for thousands of years.
Yeah.
Herbology or...
I wonder if I'm sure there's a book on like Chinese herbal medicine.
Well, that's pretty much all medicines are based off plants. Like aspirin is based off of willow bark.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and most things they have a plant
base
origin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially with suicide being what it is, it's a very hard thing to tackle, and it's only getting worse.
Yeah.
Kind of like homelessness. And I think, change comes from within. People have to do these things themselves. But there's so many facets that go into it.
Yeah.
Obviously, lifestyle, are you getting exercise? Are you eating healthy? If you eat fast food every day, you'll quickly find that your mind goes glass half empty.
Yeah.
And your energy goes down. And then your discipline goes down. And all these things, I'm
absolutely convinced that in the U.S., the biggest economic field or whatever is medicine and like hospitals and stuff. So they literally benefit from us being sick.
Yeah.
And
there's not a lot of money in healthy people.
Yeah.
There's money in sick people.
Yeah, there's not. And so it's like through all these companies, like they're literally just poisoning us. So the people at the top through the medicine and everything can make all the billions.
Yeah, and I think too, like, when you have a family, when you have kids, when you have a purpose in life, it also makes it more likely that you'll be more positive, or at least see the bigger picture in what you're doing. So many men now are disenfranchised. They're not married. They don't have relationships. They don't have kids. And so a lot of what they're doing seems pretty pointless, especially if they're not in some really highly satisfying field of work. And then you couple that with bad diet, no exercise. It's just it's a culmination of a lot of things.
I saw something the other day that said it's the highest percentage of people that are single, like not married.
Yeah.
Ever before.
Yeah.
Like this is the highest it's ever been.
And people get married much later. They have kids much later. For men especially, because we're talking about men's mental health.
Yeah.
It's so important for men to have other guys to hang out with, because as empathetic as women are, they don't really understand men's problems from a man's perspective.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And that's why I love fight gyms. It's such a great way to meet other guys. And, they're not going to judge you nearly as harshly if you have any kind of problem.
Yeah.
I think having just male people that you can go and, like, you don't have to think about their feelings and all this and that. You can just be honest. Like, say what's on your mind, say what's on your heart, and they can, tell you the truth. I'm the type of person I've always preferred, like, the blunt truth. Like, hey, you're fucking up. Stop doing this, stop doing that, start doing this, start doing that.
Yeah.
I've always preferred that rather than people trying to, like, protect your feelings and jump around the topic.
Yeah.
And typically, it's just how they're wired. That's what women do, is they try to protect your feelings or make you feel better about...
What I find is, women tend to be more cheerleaders.
Yeah.
Versus coaches.
Yeah.
And they're both important at times, but you can't, you're not going to change too much with just cheerleading.
You need, you just need that squad of guys that's, like, just pushing you along too.
Well, fighting is such a natural way too, because if your lifestyle is crappy, you'll see it in the ring or the mats, and then you'll just you'll be more likely to put the French fries away.
Yep.
Eat the banana or the apple or whatever,
And a lot of guys just don't have male friends anymore. Like, I saw something the other day. It's like, I don't know what the statistic is, but guys nowadays, hardly any of them have, like, a 3 a.m. friend. Like, there's the 6 p.m. friend that, like, you talk and stuff throughout the day, but at 6 p.m. y'all kind of stop talking. And then you have, like, a 3 a.m. friend, that dude that's just going to be there for you. Like, if they call you at 3 a.m., like, hey, I'm in trouble. Like, no questions asked, like, I'm going to be there. Like, hardly any men have that
person in their life.
Yeah.
And
We call that in the fire department the bury the body friend.
Bury the body friend?
Yeah. So 3 a.m. you're like, dude, I fucked up. I killed somebody. I need to bury this body.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you got that dude.
You got to have somebody that will bury the body with you.
Yeah.
You know, don't kill anybody. But
I think something else too, like that a lot of men don't have is I've always believed like you need the 3 areas of life covered. Like you need like 3 friends. I mean friends, 3 guys in your life that cover 3 different areas. You need somebody that's like your mentor. You need a mentor, somebody that you're learning from.
Yeah.
And trying to catch up to, so to speak.
Yeah.
And then you want somebody that's on your same level that is trying to build with you and too, so you can push each other back and forth. And then you also want like a mentee, somebody that you're showing little things to here and there.
Yeah.
So if you have all 3 of those relationships in your life, then it's like a full circle. You're always learning, you're always pushing, and you're always trying to bring somebody else up too.
yeah.
I think.
Yeah. For sure. There's a lot of truth in that.
Yeah.
Where can guys find this if they're not in a fight gym?
They're not in a fight gym?
Yeah. See, I wouldn't recommend finding like a World of Warcraft clan or guild because even though they're friends, you're going to end up spending 12 hours on the computer and kind of shooting yourself in the foot in the other way.
It's hard to answer because most of the world is run through phones and computers now. So it's like really hard to answer. Like we are not, like we're social people, like social beings. Like we're supposed to be around people.
Yeah.
And with all the phones and social media and all that stuff, people just don't do that as much anymore.
That's why I like poker halls. Poker halls are a great way to go in there and just here's 50 people I can hang out with, talk with. They might take all your money, so don't get too crazy.
I mean, I'd say like just like regular gyms, like just weight training gyms. Like I've met some really cool people from there, but I mean, I guess I've never built like a true friendship from that before.
Yeah. You know, the weightlifting gyms, you might see some guys, hey, what's up, big guy?
Yeah, yeah.
But you don't really hang out and you don't bond the same way as like sparring some guy.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I've never really been part of a running club or swimming club. You know, they're out there. I did a water polo for a while, and you'd see the same people, and that was pretty cool. But I never did it enough to really integrate in that group.
Yeah. Do you know the app Meetup?
I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's like a thing. We were telling Kale about it and stuff too. We think it'd be good to do.
Yeah.
Basically, you just go in, you sign up, and then you pick all these different categories and stuff and things that you like to do. Like, say you like cars or you like outdoors, you like hiking fishing, hunting, and it'll pull up all these things where people have created events. It's like, hey, I'm going to do this day. Anybody that wants to join, feel free to join. And so you kind of like can go to one of these events or something, and it's something that everybody there has in common. So you already have something that you can start a conversation with and talk about, and maybe
hunting, fishing, guns is definitely a thing a lot of guys will integrate in, and you can go on hunting trips, and those are pretty fun. I know a lot of guys in the fire department, they'll do elk hunting trips.
Really?
Yeah, and they'll train for elk season. Like they'll put the treadmill on an incline, put a weight vest on, and just hike or walk for a long time.
I've never been elk hunting before. Have you?
I haven't. No, I'm not a big hunter per se.
Yeah.
I don't. Not that I have anything against it. It's just never interested me enough to dedicate that much time to it.
Yeah.
I would love to do it, and I would love to go elk hunting and actually take back an elk. You don't get an elk every time you go.
Yeah.
But
sometimes you're just hiking for 4 miles in mountains and come back empty-handed.
Your elk call.
Yeah.
But the food is so healthy. That's like the best quality meat. You can get game meat, wild game meat.
Wild game meat.
Because it's just totally untouched by pesticides and hormones and antibiotics and shitty grain foods and all that stuff.
Thinking about it now, like we used to go hunting with my dad whenever we were kids, and we shot 2 deer one year and took them back to the house, and he hung them up and we skinned them and everything. And just as soon as we cut the meat off the backstrap, just threw it right on the grill.
Oh, I bet it's delicious.
It was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I need to do that again. We need to plan a hunting trip.
Yeah, we should.
And just go.
Well, we need to get a second one of those freezers for meat.
Yeah.
You know, a meat locker or whatever. And
yeah.
Because, man, one deer can feed you for a few months.
It really can.
You can make stew, you can make chili.
Mm-hmm. And it really depends on, like, how much you eat, too. Like, you can feed an entire family for a decent amount of time.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. If you're just eating meat, it might not last super, super long.
What happens to a lot of guys, I think especially around early 20s, is they start making friends at bars.
Yeah.
And the bars that I found it's a real quick way to get into a friend group. But
is it the friend group you want?
Yeah, if you're bonding over just getting hammered, as soon as you want to, get sober or whatever, you'll find those friends just quickly fade away too. So it's kind of easy come, easy go.
Yeah.
And I like to really kill two birds with one stone if I'm hanging out with a buddy.
Yeah.
Like we're working out together, we're talking business, we're doing something, we're not just like eating pizza, playing video games.
I feel like it's hard or like in my personal experience, like I've had a hard time finding just like friends that want to talk about the future and talk about building the future and where they're headed rather than everyone just talks about the past and things that they have done and this trip that they went on and this night they got so drunk and stuff. And I advise people to stay away from those groups of people where all they're talking about is like their past experiences because it's like, okay, it happened. Where are we going now?
Like the Al Bundy.
Yeah.
In high school, I scored, 5 touchdowns?
Yeah. I think it's important to surround yourself with a group of people that are, like, talking about doing things.
I totally agree.
Yeah, going for something.
I think even worse than that are guys that sit around and complain and bitch.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've met guys that all they do is as soon as they get together, they start bitching about their girlfriends or their ex-girlfriend or women or
their job
or this or that. And that's such a bad habit.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. And I don't
that's
know.
where you need, like, there's a lot of skill in subtly redirecting a conversation to positive or benefit or action steps.
And it's so hard whenever you're just around those negative people because it doesn't matter what you say.
They bring it right back.
They bring it right back to a negative conversation. It's like, how are you so skilled at doing that? Because I'm having to navigate this entire thing and trying to talk about something good and advancing in the world, and it's just subconscious. Just easily bring it right back.
Well, that's part of maybe the therapy is that you realize not every thought has to be indulged, but you really need to be aware of all of your thoughts. And when a negative thought comes up, almost like you threw a bad jab, you dropped your other hand, you need to train yourself to.
Yeah.
Okay, even though I have this thought, doesn't mean I need to ruminate on it.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I need to bring it to life.
Well, we're typically just drawn to the negative side of things just as like a protective mechanism in our brain. Like we just think about the negative things because we're like, maybe, oh, if this happens, oh, this did happen. I talked about this the other day. I posted it on, I think it was my Snapchat. It was like a month or so ago. It's like, I feel like most people start out, or I mean, however you end up in life, like you're pre-programmed by your parents or whatever. If you're pre-programmed and your subconscious mind is naturally brought to the negative side of things and you're always thinking about, oh, woe is me, this and that, you can control like how you react to and stuff to situations to start changing how you are, but it's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
Like people, because like you see it, like people feel a certain way and they act how they feel.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you've never even got to the point where you even thought about like, oh, I don't have to react how I feel. Like it's something that nobody even knows you can do.
Yeah.
And I think that's the first step is just seeing somebody or having somebody tell you, it's like, hey, you actually do have the ability to control how you react to a situation. I think that's step one. And then from there, it's being conscious every single time you have like a negative feeling, thinking about, oh, I can choose how I react to this and choosing to look at it in a positive way.
Yeah.
But it's like a long time thing.
There's so many, retraining your brain is a lot like retraining your taste buds. Like, have you ever been through a phase where you're eating like ice cream or fast food and then you get hungry, you're like, God, Taco Bell sounds great, but it's really hard to like make yourself cook your own food that night or something along those lines. But after 2, 3, 4 weeks, it becomes a habit. And then the thought of the Taco Bell or the ice cream is like, ugh. No, ugh. Thoughts are the same way. You can rewire your brain to positivity, but it's that it takes a few weeks of like really diligent effort and practice and kind of dealing with some uncomfortableness, but then it becomes a habit, just like body, working out, whatnot.
Yeah.
I think a big component too to this mass depression we have is a lack of spirituality, lack of connection to God.
Okay.
And I don't know if this is by design or whatnot, but it's almost a taboo subject for celebrities or politicians to get up there and say, God is good.
Yeah.
Put some God in your life.
You'll see all these people. It's like, oh, like I want to thank God for this, but like for me, it kind of just feels like they're just saying that to say it a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But like nobody ever really elaborates about it. That's why I really love George Janko's podcast.
Yeah.
Because he just preaches about the gospel. And
Yeah.
he has people on and he talks about their lives and how God has helped his life and stuff.
Yeah.
I love his podcast a lot.
Yeah.
I love it a lot.
Yeah, he's a positive dude, you know, and just listening to it, you don't have that like negative residue, you know, like some podcasts. Some podcasts, all they do is sit around and bitch about stuff, doom and gloom or this and that.
Yeah.
But that's such a pillar of contentment and joy in life is a spiritual practice.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. And like I don't go to church every single Sunday, but I notice that every single time that I do go to church, like you hear something here and there that like you can directly apply to your life.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't think it's a coincidence. Like I believe in God. I believe in the Holy Spirit. I believe in all of that. I don't necessarily believe that God is like this physical person, how a lot of people like imagine him. I think like God is just like everything everywhere all at once.
Like a guy in a throne.
Yeah. Like, and like it kind of ties into the law of attraction. Like everything is vibrating. So I believe like everything like is God. Like everything has a bit of God in it.
Yeah.
And so like whenever you're connected with him spiritually, like more things start happening for you in the way that you intend it or start.
You know, churches are a great way too to meet groups of guys, Bible studies, things like that.
I haven't been to a Bible study in a long time.
I would like to get involved in something like that.
Yeah.
It can take up a lot of time, but you know, at least once a week, devoting some time to a group spiritual training, you know, for lack of a better word.
Like you said, like we've gotten away from it because what is it? Like Sunday is supposed to be a holy day, a day of just rest and praising God. Like everybody's gone away from that. Now the people that are still Christian and godly, they go to church, they go to lunch, and they go home and do whatever. It's not actually a true.
But even
day
if you're, that still is going to have a benefit. Even if that's all you do, is just 1 hour a week.
Yeah.
That's not going to have a bad effect.
Yeah, it's more than I've been doing. like I'm talking about everyone being disconnected, but I kind of am myself.
Well, you know, but at the end of the day, I think spirituality is very much a one-on-one thing, you and God.
I agree
and you don't
with that.
have to be around other people or in a specific building to do that.
I agree with that. I think you'll get a sense of like wonder, maybe is the right word for it. I think whenever you've been disassociated, disconnected long enough, you'll get a sense of like, maybe I should go. Maybe I should go to church this Sunday. And then that's when I go to church, is whenever I get that sense. It's like, man, I haven't been in a while. Like I've kind of been feeling bad. Like I'm going to go to church. And then I always feel 10 times better afterwards. Like just motivated. Like the other day, me and Kale went to church and I had never been to this church before, but like I just felt good afterwards. Like you just get a good energy going to something like that. Where, yeah.
Well, you're around you know, like at a boxing gym or a grappling gym or something like that. You're around a bunch of people that have positive goals in their life, and that rubs off on you. I think same thing at a church. You're around people that have positive aspirations, or you know,
just good,
a different, better worldview maybe, or whatnot.
Yeah, faith. Yeah.
It's, you know, I mean, life is never going to be just happy, giggly, giddy. Everything is great all the time. We're kind of meant as humans to ride this wave of up and down and be able to, like in the Buddhists, like the middle path, equanimity. You don't get too carried away with the elation, and you don't get too carried away with the sadness.
You just kind of have to ride the wave. Yeah. Because it's, I heard this the other day. Alex Hormozy said it. I love just about everything that Alex Hormozy says.
I listened to the Chris Wilkinson and Alex Hormozy podcast the other day at work. It was really good.
It was that like the 3-hour one?
Yeah, probably something like that.
I love that podcast, but I love everything he says because like it's just truth. He's like the modern day Marcus Aurelius. Like not comparing the two, but that's how like I kind of.
He has the beard and the hair.
Yeah. But he said he was like, I don't get too excited whenever good things happen because the feeling's always going to come down.
Yeah.
Or it's never always going to be like that. And he's like, so just think about it the same way whenever bad things happen. Like, it's not always going to be like that. Like, don't get too down. And that's just like that, riding the wave, staying.
Oh, what's
that
line?
I wish I knew the quote so I didn't butcher it, but oh my God, it was
is it
wonderful.
Public Enemy or something? There's a song. I don't know. The lyric goes, "Don't let a win go to your head and a loss go to your heart."
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Hormozy's great. In the podcast, he had a couple of really good tweets. One of them was, "You've already accomplished goals that you said would make you happy."
Yeah.
Which is true. You know, you forget about all the accomplishments in the past, and sometimes it's good to remember, oh, you know, I told myself if I did this, I would be happy for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
You know, and kind of.
And that's one of those things. I think when people like, I think setting goals and trying to achieve things is good. But I hate whenever people are like, okay, when I do this, then I'll be happy.
Yeah.
Because you're automatically disassociating from where you are to being happy.
Yeah.
And if you're doing that, then you're not happy now, or you're not at peace now. You're always disassociated from being there, rather than just like being here, accepting you're here, and just enjoying the ride.
Yeah.
To get there.
I don't believe people are meant to be chronically unhappy, though.
I don't.
I do
they
think
are
the
either.
human experience is meant to be fairly pleasurable.
I do too.
You know, and like sadness or depression is like an indicator that something is off.
Yes.
It could be something simple like your diet and exercise.
Yeah.
It could be something a little bit deeper like you haven't really come to peace with something that happened to you in the past, you know.
Or even like you're not working towards anything.
Yeah, or you
like
don't you feel like you don't have
a
a purpose or it could be something like you just had a divorce.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a very definitive, oh, this happened. You might have to be sad for 6 months before, you know, you restabilize and,
Yeah.
you know, but
I think it's supposed to be used as a, like, you're doing something wrong. Like, change something. Change something and see how you feel.
what could we do as like a country on a mass scale to like attack male sadness and depression and suicide? You know, do we go after these food companies and say, look,
Like
we're just like wearing a seatbelt. We're not letting you sell this food. We're not letting you drive without a seatbelt. We're not letting you sell these corn oils or hydrogenated oils or high fructose corn syrup, you know?
I feel like really.
Because that almost gets into like the prohibition line. Like,
Yeah. I really think a lot of it, I wouldn't say be solved, but I think if, like, it's almost full circle to what we very first started talking about. If people would just go outside a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like, spend an hour outside a day. I don't think it would solve everything, but I think it would solve a lot of things.
yeah.
Just being outside, absorbing nature's steroid. I think it's
Sunlight's nature's
huge.
steroid, yeah.
I think being out in nature is.
And you've never seen
big
Captain
thing.
Planet, right? That was before your time.
I've never seen it.
Man.
What is it?
It's an old cartoon. It was a cartoon. There was these 5 kids that had like these magical rings, and one was like fire, wind, water. And when they shot the rings together, it summoned Captain Planet, who fought pollution. It was like an anti-pollution cartoon.
I haven't seen the actual cartoon, but I've seen like clips and stuff where.
But
people
he's
make
like
videos of
Superman. Like he would get his power from the sun, and so
Yeah.
you know, porn has a direct link to depression too.
Yeah.
Because it fucks up your neurotransmitters, it fucks up your dopamine real bad.
Yeah.
And
I think that's one of like the big
That's a huge
causes of men's depression.
Well, that also separates them from females.
It does.
It just messes up the energy between the sexes.
Yeah.
And that's going to lead to depression if you're isolated. You're not, because people are meant to share the life together. It's supposed to be a shared experience. And if everything is lone wolf, it's not as gratifying, or it's not like the way it was intended to be.
Yeah.
But, you know, do you just make a hard and fast porn is illegal? Well, what's porn? You know?
I don't think that'd be bad. I mean, Texas already, like.
Yeah, they Pornhub withdrew from Texas because Texas wanted a age verification.
Yeah, like I don't know how it works exactly. Like if you have to like go and put an ID or something like that in, like I think that's good. But like if you did that on like an entire, like global scale, like there's always going to be those people that like sign up and pay for like live cams and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think if you just made people like verify their identity, I think that would deter a lot of guys from watching porn. Like if you had to upload a picture of your ID, and it's just like, oh well, everybody's gonna know that I watched or something. It might psychologically just be like, well, if I upload my ID, man,
you should have to live
everybody's
stream
gonna know.
every time you watch porn.
Yeah, yeah.
With your webcam going.
Yeah.
In front. Would you do it then?
Yeah. I think porn is terrible.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's such a detrimental effect on.
It puts so many like unrealistic expectations out there too, like for both like men and women. It's like my dick's not that big. Your tits aren't that good. Like it's just unrealistic. And so like whenever you go back to try to start dating again, you're like, oh well, this isn't like in the movies.
It conditions men to so many, like, you start thinking that, like, women are, like, they're all going to be porn star crazy in bed and require no emotional connection. No, and
I think a big thing is like, if a guy goes and tries to talk to a girl and he gets rejected, instead of sitting there and doing, like, some analyzing and figuring out, okay, well, like, why? Maybe I did something wrong.
Yeah.
They just go and beat off, and they're like, oh, well, that's good enough.
Yeah.
And so they never do any self-analyzing and figure out how they can change and how they can be different to get that female to like them.
Yeah.
And so I think that's one of the big
it's
things.
a lot like, porn is a lot like eating McDonald's. It will satiate you just enough to, like, not have the hunger to go and cook a steak, but it won't
satisfy.
It doesn't really nourish you the same way as, like, your connection to a real woman. But it's so much easier and readily available to just drive to McDonald's and pay $5 for a Happy Meal.
Yeah.
That's such a big connection, the porn.
Yeah.
I think as a society we're starting to really acknowledge that it's not the right way it's not a great thing to indulge in.
See,
almost ever.
I would like to say that, but I feel like that's just because that's the world that, like, we're involved in. Like, we're all just like just trying to be better, but I feel like the majority of society is still just, like, down that path.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's important to have, like, podcasts like this and motivating podcasts and stuff like this. Even if it's not super famous or anything, if it can affect, like, one person and just kind of get them to step into the personal development space of, like, there's something else out there.
Yeah.
Like
I'm not a big fan of shame. Like, only losers do this. You're a loser. More of just like a coach. It's here's the pros and cons.
Yeah.
The pro is you get a nut.
Yeah.
The bad is this.
Yeah.
You know.
Like you got that dopamine release. Now you don't feel like doing anything. You're going to be lazy. You're not going to want to do anything.
It's like saying,
what are we as humans? Like, we're supposed to eat, sleep, and reproduce. Like, like we're just wired that way.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, well, if your brain thinks that you've accomplished basically what your entire life is about, then it's like, what else is there?
Well, I think what's also kind of insidious is how hypersexualized everything has gotten in society, from
oh my gosh,
from movies to music videos to just clothing to dancing.
Yeah.
You know?
Have you ever seen Mean Girls, like the old Mean Girls movie?
A long time ago.
They came out with a new one.
Yeah.
And I took my girlfriend to see it on, like, our second date or whatever, because she's a, like, real girly girl. She likes stuff like that. And we went, it was the worst movie I've ever seen in my entire life. They tried to turn it into, like, a musical, which is not even what it's about. And then these kids are supposed to be 15, 16, 17, and all of them are basically naked in every single scene, just dancing, showing their tits, and, like, zooming in on their ass. And it's like, you're supposed to be perceiving these kids as 16, 17, and 18. It's like, what are you doing?
Well, if you get little girls, teenage girls, thinking that's what cute is.
Yeah, that's what we're supposed to act like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that
it's just a combination of so many things that has just made everything a huge clusterfuck.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how else to describe it. Like, it's just fucked.
You have to, as a man, you have to really put on blinders to not look at porn, not not fall into thirst traps on Instagram, even though it's not porn per se. It's super hot chicks in skin tight clothes, perfect angles.
It's like, gosh, there's a specific word to it. It's like, I don't know, entry level porn or something like that.
Soft porn.
Yeah, soft porn. Yeah.
And sometimes even just going to a commercial gym, there's so many girls wearing, essentially, they essentially look naked, but they have like a blue leotard on.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible for a man not to look.
Yeah, and then they get mad. Of all things, it's
women don't understand how powerful men's sex drive is.
They don't.
They have no idea.
And they never will, and it's so annoying because it's like they're always going to say, like, oh, I dress like this for me. No, fuck you don't. You do not dress like that for you. You know damn well what you're trying to do. Like, you know damn well you're trying to get people to look at you. Maybe not, like, straight, like, that's exactly why you're wearing it. Like, I want guys to look at me. But it's like, you are.
That's what's so hard is men's attention has become so cheap. You know, and as a man, you have to find a way to make your attention valuable. You know, and if you can really self-direct your focus to your own goals, women find that very appealing. But it's a challenge. You have to really fight off, you know,
all
scrolling on Instagram, staring at a woman, always having your head go left and right.
Yeah.
You know.
There's this really cool app that I found on my phone that
Grindr?
basically no, it's basically like Instagram, but instead of it being like posts and stuff, you can like pick your favorite books and podcasts, and it will show you like clips and quotes from these specific books.
How
and
interesting.
Stuff. What did I say it was called? Deep Stash. And so instead of going to Instagram whenever I feel like bored and stuff, like where I just need a break, I've gone to this, and you can scroll and find really good quotes and like read articles and stuff about these books. And it doesn't even have to be like self-development books. It can just be books you like to read, like if you're really into fiction or something. People don't read anymore.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a big thing that not necessarily directly correlates into like men's mental health, but just like how stupid people are. I think is a big thing, just because nobody reads anymore.
But yeah, you know, food is a big one. Food and mental health go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Very few people really connect what they eat with how they look and how they feel.
Yeah.
But it's a direct correlation.
Yeah, because most people aren't like, they don't think about the food that they're putting in their body. They're just like, food, okay, eat, I'm good.
Well, that's how it used to be, where you
hunger.
went to the grocery store and the eggs were healthy, the meat was healthy, the milk was healthy, the non-healthy stuff like cereal was still for the most part pretty healthy. But then as time went on, so many chemicals and synthetic stuff got introduced, and so many corners got cut for mass production and factory farming. And most people, they just have a cursory level interest in learning this stuff. But you almost have to have like a marketing degree to sift through propaganda. Like when we had Alan on, and we were talking about what is a natural drink.
Yeah.
What are natural ingredients? You know, that's a term that doesn't actually have any legal standard to it, like say organic or grass-fed. And grass-fed could mean they ate grass until the last 3 months and they had grain. So then you got to look for grass-fed. So you got to look through all these ingredients and you got to know all this stuff. You have to really be self-educated to know what truly healthy food is.
Yeah.
Or at least to see through the marketing, the propaganda.
What's your opinion on like caffeine? Like I know you've been drinking tea lately. But like what about like coffee and just caffeine just like as a stimulant for people like on a daily basis? Like
I think it's good. You know, I've heard that caffeine actually ages you faster.
Really?
Anything that revs up your nervous system has a downstream effect of like of burning it out quicker. So if you can limit it, it's good.
I have not been taking as much pre-workout as I used to. Like I don't know if you remember, but whenever I first met you, like I was taking
just scoops.
900 milligrams every single morning before I would go work out, and then I drink 2 or 3 Red Bulls throughout the day. Like I've cut back a lot, but I still do take
I used to
caffeine
drink a ton
every
of
single day.
monster energy drinks and energy drinks in general.
Yeah.
And then I got to the point where there were these silly monster cans. They were like this wide. It was
huge one.
It was stupid. And
Yeah.
I got to the point where I was in college, I would drink one of those and it wouldn't even move the needle on my energy. And I was like, okay, this is silly.
Yeah.
My tolerance is way too high.
Yeah,
And then I just decided to at least go to natural sources of coffee and tea. And pretty good doing that. Coffee is, so I don't know what the science is behind this, but even though they're caffeine, I don't know if they're exactly the same.
Yeah.
So coffee is a bean that grows in the dirt, right? It's kind of like a seed. And then tea is a leaf, and it's like absorbing directly the sunlight. So they're just different mechanisms of stuff, but I don't know if all caffeine is equal per se. So the actual milligram content of tea is a lot lower than coffee.
Yeah.
But I found that when you sip tea, you get a really good focus and
Just
a clear.
based on what you said and how we've talked about the sun, I just automatically, like, absolutely, completely biased opinion, I assume that tea is better than coffee. Just because it's grown from leaves and it absorbs sun.
I think it might be. I think there might be something to it.
Yeah.
I find that, sipping it throughout the day, tea, I feel better. I don't feel like I'm having a lot of these spikes and crashes.
Really?
Yeah, and it feels a little bit of a clearer thing. But in the morning, I like coffee.
Yeah.
it's also coffee's really acidic, and I think it can mess up your stomach a little bit.
Yeah.
Cause you stomach issues depending on how much.
I had some cold brew coffee, and I was on the toilet for like 20 minutes. It was not good.
I like tea. I mean, I think caffeine's okay. It's a proven performance enhancer. It's one of the few supplements that's actually shown to improve athletic performance.
Yeah.
So you can use it like a performance enhancing drug.
Yeah.
If you time it before a workout.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's bad. I mean, it can mess up your sleep. Sleep is huge. Sleep is a huge pillar of health.
I was told like you shouldn't drink caffeine after about 4 p.m. 4 or 5 p.m. or something.
It's about
like
6 hours before you go to bed.
Yeah.
So the actual initial buzz of caffeine lasts like 45 minutes to an hour, but it actually elevates your nervous system for about 6 hours imperceptibly. So if you drink a coffee at 9 p.m. and try to go to bed at 11, you may feel it's gonna make you toss and turn. You're not gonna get quite as good of a REM sleep.
What do you think about those people that say like, oh well, whenever I drink coffee, I get sleepy? You think they're just bullshitting?
No, and God, there was who's the bulletproof coffee guy? You know what I'm talking about? I can't remember his name either. He's the guy that he was on Joe Rogan podcast for a couple times, and he talked about bulletproof coffee, but I remember he mentioned something like sometimes it can have like a negative effect where it's like when you reach a certain point, then it kind of makes you feel drowsy.
You think it's kind of like Adderall with people with ADHD versus people
Maybe.
not?
There's
like
a lot of
effect.
in a lot of South American countries they have a nighttime coffee after dinner.
Really?
Yeah, and I think on a full belly, the caffeine kind of helps you digest and relax.
Okay.
I'm not too crazy about that because of the sleep, but Dave Asprey, yes, yeah. He talked. I can't remember what his reasoning was, but he talked about that specifically. Why sometimes he also mentioned like in coffee, there's a lot of mycotoxins, which are like fungal things that grow in it, and when they ship it and move it, they can be slightly damp, which makes these things grow. And sometimes having like dirty coffee can make you feel lethargic.
Yeah. You just mentioned it because we were talking about the caffeine, but sleep.
Yeah.
Like people not getting sleep, like you see the people that are like Andrew Tate and them. They're like, oh, I don't need sleep. Like you just need to work, need to get stuff done.
So jealous.
Yeah, but it's like sleep is a huge thing when it comes to your health. Like
I found for putting on size, napping helps a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Call it anabolic napping. Like after you deadlift, you have a steak. Take a 90-minute nap.
Yeah. Well, because your body
grow.
heals itself whenever it's sleeping.
Yeah, sleep is the most anabolic thing you can do.
I got that grounding sheet that we talked about last week, and I've been sleeping on it. It is incredible.
Really?
That might be one of the reasons. Like, I did stop doing the Zens and stuff too, but I've just felt more energized throughout the day. And, like...
I might get one of those.
I love it.
I know there's grounding pads, like when people work on their desk, they'll stand on and...
Yeah. But, like, I found that, and I've started sleeping on that, and I feel good. Like, the first night was crazy. Like, I woke up and I was just awake. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, sometimes you'll wake up and you're just like, oh, I don't want to, and, like, want to hit the alarm and stuff.
Yeah.
This time I wasn't. Like, I just woke up and
Really?
I was there. Like, I was there. It was incredible.
I think certain people genetically need more and less sleep than others, I found.
Really?
Yeah, because some people, they can get like 6-7 hours and they just can't sleep anymore. They wake up and they have to get moving. Other people, they need like 8, 9.
Yeah.
I've always needed about 8 to 9.
Really?
And especially if I'm working out like twice a day, it would almost be like 10.
Yeah.
If I didn't set an alarm, it would be like 10 hours on the dot. I would wake up.
Yeah.
And
whenever I was...
they've also shown that people that sleep more die earlier, believe it or not. Yeah.
Okay.
That's a weird statistic.
I wonder why, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if it's
something to do
heart things or something, but yeah, like it's not a good sign if you need more sleep.
I found whenever I was doing like my monk mode, whenever I was super focused, I'd go to bed at 10 and I'd wake up at 5. What is that? Like 7 hours?
Yeah.
About 7 hours. Well, I wouldn't go to bed. Like I'd turn everything off, like turn all the lights off and everything, and sleep in total darkness. I probably wouldn't fall asleep till 10:30 or 11 because you're sitting there, your brain's just going. So I think like 6-7 hours is like my ideal, peak performance thing. I think it was you that I was telling. I want to get one of those sleep rings.
Yeah.
And just track my sleep and see like if I'm sleeping
more or less if I feel better or worse. I told you last week that I was going to buy the grounding blanket after the podcast, and I did, and I'm going to buy that as soon as we get off of this one too. I'm going to get it, and then next time we talk, I'm going to...
Being really disciplined with your sleep schedule is a big benefit too.
Yeah.
I'm kind of more of a night owl naturally.
Really?
Yeah, I have to train myself to go to bed at 10. Otherwise, naturally, it'll be between about midnight and 2 a.m.
I found myself being like that lately too. But I mean... I think it's something you can change. Like it's just like one of those habits or whatever. Like you're just used to it, and then I think once you are disciplined to go to bed early and wake up early, I think after about a week or two, maybe it reprograms your cycle.
Yeah,
maybe.
Mental health in the fire department's a big thing too, because all the sleep messing up and things like that.
Yeah,
that can really affect your psyche and.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Because what do you do? 24 on, 48 off?
Yeah. But, I mean, some shifts you may sleep okay. You might not get any calls. Some you may get calls throughout the night, get woken up multiple times. And I found, too, is whenever you're getting woken up like that, you're in this weird zombie state where you aren't quite tired enough to go to bed, but you don't have the energy to really be, productive and work out. So you kind of want to, drink beer and eat queso dip. And
that probably has to do with when you wake up in your sleep cycle.
Yeah.
Because, I know it's, really, really bad if you wake up in the middle of, your REM sleep cycle. Because I know there's, some apps and stuff, and I think the Sleep Ring app has it. It'll monitor when you're in, your deep sleep. And if you have your alarm set for, say, 6 a.m., but you're in, deep sleep at 6 a.m., it'll wait or either wake you up a little bit earlier or a little bit after, depending on your sleep state. It'll start vibrating on your finger to wake you up when you're at your lightest sleep state.
That's really smart.
I'm gonna test it. I'm gonna find out. I'll let you know.
Well, there's something too. So there are also alarm clocks that are sunlight mimicking clocks. Have you heard of these? That they just slowly get brighter. You put them at the foot of your bed, and they just that's how they wake you up. Versus a jarring
Yeah, I don't like that.
Well, that's at the station when you get a tone. It's all the lights just slam on and the tone and you'll wake up and if you feel your heart's
it's like a panic. You wake up in a panic.
I think getting woken up in a panic is probably not good for your heart. It's probably an evolutionary thing. If you get woke up in a panic, it probably means there's a tiger or something trying to eat your village. So you have to be alert and ready to go. But for people that have shift work, mental health is a big thing. You're missing sunlight. Your circadian rhythm is thrown off.
Ken, is there anything else specifically you wanted to bring up or talk about?
We could talk about the Common Mothership.
Yeah. You've been before?
So I've been the last couple times. I got to see some pretty big names of the Comedy Mothership. It was really cool.
Who'd you see?
I saw Joe Rogan.
Okay.
I saw Duncan Trussell. Ron White was there. Christina Pazynski. That's Tom Segura's wife.
Yeah.
She was there. She was really funny.
Really?
But I went there kind of as a way to do research on how to be a more public speaking, comedic timing.
Okay.
Because the comedic timing is just it's an art.
It is, yeah.
The way they drop the punchline and fit in a zinger and things like that, and the premises where they lead you down this path and then
then bring it back.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've invited me a couple times, and I just hadn't been able to go, but I really want to go because I've always wanted to go to one of those comedy shows. I watch Kill Tony and stuff like
Tony
that.
Hinchcliffe I saw a couple times up there.
Yeah, really?
Yep.
See, I've always wanted to go just to a live comedy club like that. I've only ever seen them on video on YouTube, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that would be so fun.
We have the opportunity of a lifetime living in Austin with this just being 30, 40 minutes down the road.
Yeah.
Because it's like the hub of comedy in the world. All the best stand-up comics come there and do their shows.
And there's some small ones too besides the Comedy Mothership that you can go to. Have you been to small comedy clubs?
There's apparently a handful around the city. I haven't been to them. I know Cap City was one that was around a long time. And that's, I want to say it's North Austin, so it's further than Comedy Mothership. But, I really like going on off nights, like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Really?
Because there's no parking is just park wherever you want, real easy.
Yeah, the Fridays and Saturdays I bet are super packed.
And they sell out real quick, really quick.
Yeah.
So anytime Joe Rogan puts up online, I'm going to be performing these 2 nights, tickets go on sale at 2 p.m. By 2:45, they're gone.
Really?
So you got to be quick on Joe Rogan shows. But,
wow. I'd love to see him do stand-up.
He's amazingly polished.
Yeah.
It's very impressive.
I saw one of
never
his...
says never stutters, never says and every word mannerism is like planned out, but it's smooth and natural, and it's like an hour straight.
Yeah.
And it just keeps the flow going where you don't like, get tired or.
I've seen one of his Netflix specials. I can't remember which one it was. It's one of his older ones, but it's my favorite like comedy special that I've ever seen. I can't remember the name of which one it was, but he's talking about like being high on a boat and looking at dolphins and stuff. Oh my gosh, it's hilarious. But I'd love to see Joe Rogan.
He's funny, man. Yeah. I'm trying to think of.
I want to see Shane Gillis. I love Shane Gillis.
He comes through the mothership.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need. There's a lot of times that like people just like show up too, like surprise guests and stuff, aren't there?
Well, so when I went, it was just Joe Rogan and friends. Yeah. And then, oh, look, there's Ron White. Oh, there's Duncan Trussell. There's,
Yeah.
So you don't really know who's going to be there, but they're always good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even the guys that I can't remember their name, they're like hilarious.
Mm-hmm. I'd love to. Have you seen like some Kill Tony shows?
I have. I've never seen them in person. Those sell out quick too.
I would love to go to one of those too.
Yeah.
I think that'd be really fun.
Apparently, he's giving out golden tickets and buckets or something.
Really?
He said, yeah, because he just did an episode with Joe Rogan I listened to, and they were talking about the Kill Tony stuff. Tony Hinchcliffe has he's one of the best roasters.
He is.
There was, back when they were at the Vulcan, I went, and this sweet lady, she was probably like 70 or 80. Ron White was actually there too, and he's like, hey, here's a friend of mine. I've known her for a long time. She's going to do a set. And she went up and she did her set, and it was not like back-breaking. Yeah, it wasn't like hilarious.
Yeah.
It was kind of, and so Tony Hinchcliffe gets on and just rips her apart mercilessly. And I was just like, oh, God.
That's my favorite.
So funny, but I feel so bad.
It's my favorite part about his show is
so
whenever
bad.
he just tears into people. I love it so much.
I felt so bad for her, but like, you couldn't argue with the stuff he was saying. That's why he's such a good roaster.
Yeah. Did you see his clip on the Netflix Tom Brady roast?
Oh, yeah.
His was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And he went on like the Two Bears, One Cave podcast with who was it, Tom Segura and Bert
Kreischer. Yeah.
He went on
they're in Austin too. Tom Segura. Roseanne Barr, I think, lives here in Austin too.
I don't know who that is.
Did you ever see the Roseanne show? It's probably also before you were. But she's a long time stand-up comedian, and she had a sitcom show when I was a kid called The Roseanne Show.
Roseanne Barr?
Yeah, Barr. She was like one of the most famous, i.e. most acknowledged female stand-ups for a long, like Joe Rogan speaks very highly of her, like her stand-up and stuff. Yeah.
Okay. No, I've never seen one of her shows. I'll have to. YouTube
but she has a podcast here, dude. Everyone's in Austin. This is becoming like the hub of so many things.
Yeah. Podcasting,
sure. Comedy, jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Technology. Elon Musk is here.
Yeah, there's so much here.
Yeah.
I love where we live. People hate on it too. Like I know people that are like born in Austin. They're like, all I want to do is leave. And I didn't grow up here.
Yeah.
But
you don't appreciate the vibe of Austin unless you came here, I think, from somewhere else.
Yeah.
I grew up in Dallas, and Dallas is a cool city, but it's more pretentious than Austin. And when I went to UT here, and then I kind of fell in love with the city and the vibe and how it's laid back and be yourself. And,
yeah.
But that kind of gets out, then it attracts law of attraction, attracts more people.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's a good spot, man. People here are very welcoming, down to earth, hardworking, but still kind of conservative. Mm-hmm. We're not like delusional in Portland or something.
Yeah. Well, my older brother loved most about it. He's like there's not a lot of judgment. Like it is like what the gay capital of Texas. So there's like
probably Also, this is a Democrat liberal capital.
Yeah.
If you look at the voting map, it's like all red and like a little blue dot in Austin.
Yeah. So like there's all that, but it's like you could just like be yourself. There's like no fear of like judgment.
Yeah.
Anywhere almost.
Yeah.
That I've noticed. It's like just be yourself.
Yeah, and I think that's cool. Yeah, let's try to go to the comedy mothership.
Yeah. I think that
every time I've gone, I've been able to just kind of sit in the back row, which is good. Yeah. But it's cool, man. Seeing that level of professionalism and articulation and stuff, there's a benefit to us.
Yeah.
What we do.
Yeah.
For sure.
We need to go to one. I need to go to one. Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Well, Corbin, good chat.
Good chat.
Glad we did this.
I am too. This is good.
Yep.